John Calipari may have landed another future star. When Arkansas secured the commitment of Miikka Muurinen, Razorback fans immediately started asking one question: just how good can this kid become? Standing nearly 7 feet tall with guard-like skills, elite shooting touch, and impressive athleticism, Muurinen isn't your typical stretch forward. He's part of the new generation of international basketball prospects, players who can handle the ball, knock down threes, attack closeouts, and defend multiple positions. The scary part? He's still nowhere close to his ceiling. Today, we're breaking down exactly what Miikka Muurinen brings to Arkansas basketball, why he fits perfectly in John Calipari's system, and whether he has the tools to become one of the SEC's biggest breakout stars. We'll look at his greatest strengths, the areas that still need development, and why his arrival could completely change the way Arkansas basketball plays. Let's dive in. A different kind of recruit. Every recruiting class has talented players. Every recruiting cycle has 5-star prospects, but every once in a while, a player comes along whose skill set simply doesn't fit traditional basketball positions. That's Miikka Muurinen. Originally from Finland, Muurinen developed in one of Europe's strongest basketball development systems before making the move to American high school basketball. European basketball has produced stars like Dirk Nowitzki, Kristaps Porzingis, Lauri Markkanen, and Franz Wagner, players whose versatility has completely changed how the NBA values size and skill. Muurinen appears to come from that same basketball philosophy. Instead of teaching big men to simply post up, rebound, and block shots, European development emphasizes skill. Every player learns to dribble, every player learns to shoot, every player learns to pass, every player is expected to make decisions with the basketball. That foundation shows every time Muurinen steps on the floor. He's comfortable handling the ball, he's comfortable making reads, he's comfortable spacing the floor, and perhaps most importantly, he's comfortable playing fast. That style should fit perfectly with what John Calipari wants Arkansas to become. One of the biggest misconceptions about John Calipari is that his offenses never evolve. The reality is quite different. Throughout his career, Calipari has consistently adapted based on his personnel. When he had dominant post players, he played through the paint. When he had explosive guards, the offense revolved around attacking downhill. Now, basketball has entered an entirely different era. Spacing is everything. Shooting is everything. Positionless basketball dominates the game. That's exactly where Miikka Muurinen becomes so valuable. Instead of clogging the lane, he stretches defenses. Instead of standing in the dunker's spot, he forces opposing big men 25 feet away from the basket. Instead of slowing the offense down, he helps speed it up. For Arkansas's guards, that's a dream scenario. Every defender pulled away from the paint creates larger driving lanes. Larger driving lanes create easier finishes. Easy finishes create efficient offense. Muurinen may not lead the Razorbacks in scoring immediately, but his presence alone could make everyone around him more dangerous. That's the hidden value elite shooters bring to modern basketball. Sometimes the most important shot is the one you don't even take. Arkansas fans shouldn't expect Muurinen to come in averaging 25 points per game. That isn't necessarily his role. His impact is much more subtle. Imagine Arkansas pushing the ball after a defensive rebound. Instead of every defender collapsing into the paint, one defender has to sprint toward Muurinen waiting beyond the three-point line. That immediately stretches the defense. Now imagine Arkansas running a pick and pop. Instead of rolling hard to the basket every possession, Muurinen fades to the perimeter. The opposing center has a decision: protect the rim or contest the three. Either answer gives Arkansas an advantage. That's modern basketball. Every possession becomes a series of impossible choices for the defense. Elite spacing forces mistakes, and Muurinen specializes in creating those dilemmas. One thing that immediately jumps off film isn't just his talent, it's his confidence. Some freshmen play cautiously. They're afraid to make mistakes. They hesitate. They second-guess themselves. Muurinen doesn't appear wired that way.
If he's open, he shoots. If there's a driving lane, he attacks. If he sees an opportunity in transition, he goes. That confidence matters because SEC basketball can overwhelm young players. The crowds are louder, the athletes are bigger, the defenses are faster. Players who hesitate usually struggle. Players who trust their skills often adjust much quicker. Confidence can't replace talent, but confidence allows talent to show itself. Muurinen already appears to possess both. Why his timing is perfect. Arkansas basketball is entering another important chapter under John Calipari. Recruiting momentum continues to build. Expectations remain incredibly high. The SEC is stronger than ever. Simply having talent isn't enough anymore. You need roster balance, you need shooting, you need versatility, you need players who can fit alongside multiple lineups. Muurinen checks every one of those boxes. He doesn't have to dominate the basketball. He doesn't require endless post touches. He complements stars instead of competing with them. Those players often become coaches' favorites because they make lineups easier to build. Every coach wants versatile players. Very few actually have them. Arkansas now has one. The NBA connection. It's impossible not to think ahead. Whenever a player with Muurinen physical tools arrives on campus, NBA scouts immediately take notice. Why? Because professional basketball values exactly what he brings. Can he shoot? Yes. Can he defend multiple positions? Potentially. Can he run the floor? Absolutely. Can he play with or without the basketball? Yes. Those are premium NBA skills. The league is constantly searching for long, athletic forwards who can stretch the floor while switching defensively. Muurinen fits that mold remarkably well. That doesn't mean he'll be a lottery pick tomorrow. Development still matters, strength still matters, consistency still matters, but the foundation is clearly there, and that's what makes his future so exciting.
What makes him different? There are plenty of talented freshmen every season. There are plenty of athletic forwards. There are plenty of shooters. Finding someone who combines all those traits into one player is much rarer. That's what separates Miikka Muurinen. He's not just one-dimensional. He's not simply a shooter. He's not just an athlete. He's a modern basketball player whose versatility allows him to impact games in multiple ways. And that's exactly the type of player John Calipari has been searching for as college basketball continues to evolve. Elite shooting and floor spacing. If there's one skill that immediately translates to winning basketball, it's shooting. And for Miikka Muurinen, this may very well be the trait that gets him on the floor early. Modern basketball is built around spacing. Gone are the days when teams could pack the paint with multiple defenders and dare big men to shoot from the outside. Today's game rewards players who force defenses to guard every inch of the floor. That's exactly what Muurinen brings to Arkansas. Standing close to 7 feet tall, he has the ability to stretch opposing defenses well beyond the three-point line. That alone changes everything for the Razorbacks offense. Think about what happens when Arkansas runs a high ball screen. If Muurinen pops out behind the three-point line, the opposing center suddenly has an impossible decision. Stay in the paint and protect the rim, or step out and contest a nearly 7-footer who can comfortably knock down perimeter shots. Either choice creates an advantage. If the defender stays home, Muurinen gets an open look from deep. If the defender closes out aggressively, Arkansas's guards suddenly have a clear path to attack the basket. That's why shooting is about much more than simply making threes. Great shooters manipulate defenses before they ever touch the basketball. They pull defenders away from the paint. They create driving lanes. They generate open looks for teammates. Sometimes a player's greatest contribution isn't scoring 20 points. Sometimes it's making everyone else better. Muurinen has that ability. His shooting mechanics are smooth, repeatable, and incredibly natural for someone his size. There's no wasted motion, no awkward release, no hesitation. When he catches the ball, he's already prepared to shoot. That quick trigger makes him even more dangerous because defenders don't have time to recover. For Arkansas, that kind of spacing could completely transform the offense. Size and mobility.
Basketball has entered an era where versatility matters more than traditional positions. The best teams aren't simply looking for centers or power forwards anymore. They're looking for basketball players. Players who can switch defensively, players who can handle the ball, players who can guard multiple positions, players who can play fast. Muurinen checks nearly every one of those boxes. Standing close to 7 feet tall with impressive mobility, he moves much more like a wing than a traditional big man. Watch him run the floor. He isn't lumbering behind the play, he's sprinting, changing directions, covering ground effortlessly. That combination of length and mobility makes him incredibly valuable on both ends of the floor. Offensively, he can attack closeouts after defenders overcommit to his shooting. Defensively, his length allows him to contest shots without fouling, while his footwork gives him a chance to stay in front of smaller players. Will he occasionally struggle against elite SEC guards? Absolutely. Every freshman does. But unlike many young big men, Muurinen already possesses the movement skills necessary to survive in modern defensive systems. That's a huge advantage. Coaches can teach positioning, they can teach rotations, they can improve defensive awareness. Mobility, however, is much harder to teach. Either a player has it or he doesn't. Muurinen clearly does. Versatile scoring. One of the biggest misconceptions about Muurinen is that he's simply a shooter. That's far from the truth. Yes, his perimeter shooting receives most of the attention, but his offensive game is much deeper than that. He's comfortable attacking off the dribble when defenders close out too aggressively. He can finish with either hand around the basket. He understands how to move without the basketball. He's patient. He rarely forces difficult shots. Instead of relying on one offensive weapon, he scores in a variety of ways. That's incredibly important because SEC defenses are too good to allow players to survive with only one skill. If opponents take away your three-point shot, can you attack? If they cut off your drive, can you make the extra pass? If the game slows down, can you score in the half court? Muurinen has shown flashes of answering yes to all of those questions. He's especially dangerous attacking long closeouts. Imagine a defender sprinting 30 feet to contest a three-pointer. One quick pump fake, one hard dribble, and suddenly Muurinen is attacking downhill with a significant size advantage. Those are high-percentage scoring opportunities. His feel for the game also stands out. He doesn't appear rushed. He doesn't panic under pressure. He lets the game come to him. That's often a sign of high basketball IQ, and players with strong instincts typically adjust faster once they reach college. Transition offense and athleticism. One area where Arkansas fans could quickly fall in love with Muurinen is his ability to run the floor. John Calipari has always loved pushing the pace. When his teams secure defensive rebounds, they don't want to walk the basketball up the floor. They want easy points. Transition basketball creates those opportunities, and Muurinen fits that philosophy perfectly. For a player his size, he runs exceptionally well. He fills the lanes correctly. He knows when to sprint to the rim. He knows when to space to the corner. He understands transition spacing. That may sound simple. It's not. Many young players simply run as fast as possible. Great players understand where they should be running. Muurinen consistently puts himself in positions to help his teammates. Once he gets out in transition, his athleticism becomes even more noticeable. He's capable of finishing above the rim. He's coordinated enough to catch difficult passes, and because defenders are often backpedaling, they have a difficult time deciding whether to protect the basket or contest his outside shooting. Again, impossible decisions. That's exactly what Arkansas wants to create. Every possession becomes a numbers game. If defenders collapse, kick it out for three. If defenders stay attached to shooters, attack the rim. Muurinen gives Arkansas another weapon capable of punishing whichever decision defenses choose. Why these strengths fit Calipari perfectly. Perhaps the most exciting aspect of Muurinen game isn't any one individual skill, it's how all of them work together. Elite shooting opens driving lanes, mobility creates matchup problems, versatile scoring punishes defensive adjustments, transition athleticism generates easy baskets. Every strength complements another. That's what makes him such an intriguing long-term prospect. John Calipari won't need to redesign his offense around Muurinen. Instead, Muurinen naturally enhances everything Arkansas already wants to do. He makes guards more dangerous, he creates more spacing for slashers, he increases lineup flexibility, and he gives Arkansas another player who can thrive in today's positionless style of basketball. If his development continues on its current path, Arkansas fans may look back at this commitment as one of the most important additions of Calipari's tenure, because players with this combination of size, shooting, mobility, and basketball IQ simply don't come around very often. Every elite prospect has areas to improve. Now, before Arkansas fans start penciling Miikka Muurinen in as an All-American, let's pump the brakes just a little. No freshman enters college basketball as a finished product. Not even Cooper Flagg, not even Victor Wembanyama before arriving in the NBA. The best players are constantly evolving, and while Muurinen has one of the highest ceilings in college basketball, there are still several areas he'll need to improve if he wants to maximize his potential under Calipari. The encouraging news: almost every weakness in his game is something that can be developed through experience, strength training, and coaching. Let's start with the biggest one: physicality and frame. If you've watched enough SEC basketball, you know one thing is guaranteed. Every single night is a fight. The conference is loaded with older, stronger, more physical players. Many opposing forwards are already 22 or 23 years old. Some have spent multiple seasons in college weight programs. Others transferred after years of experience elsewhere. That's a completely different challenge than high school basketball. Muurinen has terrific size, but size and strength aren't the same thing. Right now, his frame still has room to add muscle. That means he'll likely face some growing pains when battling for rebounds, defending powerful post players, and absorbing contact around the basket. There will be possessions where veteran SEC forwards try to back him down. There will be games where bigger bodies attempt to wear him out over 40 minutes. That's simply part of the learning process. The good news? His frame appears capable of supporting additional strength without sacrificing mobility. That's exactly what NBA scouts want to see. Adding 15 to 20 pounds of functional muscle over the next couple of years could completely transform his game. Suddenly, those contested rebounds become his. Those difficult finishes become and-one opportunities. Those defensive possessions become stops instead of fouls. Strength changes everything. Arkansas's strength and conditioning staff will play a massive role in his development. Playing through contact. Closely tied to his frame is another important area: playing through physical defenders. At the high school and international levels, skill often allows elite players to avoid contact. College basketball doesn't work that way. SEC defenders aren't interested in giving you comfortable shots. They're going to bump you, they're going to body you, they're going to test your toughness from the opening tip. For Muurinen, learning when to embrace contact instead of avoiding it will be one of the biggest adjustments. Sometimes the right play isn't fading away. Sometimes it's lowering your shoulder, attacking the defender's chest, and forcing the official to make a call. The best offensive players welcome physical basketball. It's another step in the maturation process. Once Muurinen becomes stronger and more confident attacking through contact, his scoring efficiency could take another significant jump. Shot creation. Now, let's talk about the offensive skill that separates good players from future NBA stars: creating your own shot. This is probably the biggest basketball skill Muurinen still needs to refine. He's already an outstanding catch-and-shoot player. He's effective attacking closeouts. He's excellent moving without the basketball. But creating offense against an elite defender without the help of a screen is an entirely different challenge. Can he consistently beat athletic SEC wings off the dribble? Can he create separation late in the shot clock? Can he manufacture offense when the play breaks down? Those are difficult questions for almost every freshman. Right now, Muurinen projects more as someone who thrives within the flow of an offense rather than someone who dominates the ball, and that's perfectly okay. In fact, that may be exactly what Arkansas needs this season. However, if he eventually develops advanced ball handling, tighter change of direction moves in a more polished isolation package, his ceiling rises dramatically. That's the difference between becoming an excellent college player and becoming a potential first-round NBA draft pick. Adjusting to the speed of the SEC. Another challenge won't necessarily be physical, it will be mental, the speed of the game. Every possession happens faster, defensive rotations happen faster, closeouts happen faster, passing windows disappear faster. The mistakes that worked in high school become turnovers in the SEC. Freshmen often describe the adjustment as shocking. Everything speeds up. The encouraging part is Muurinen already has a reputation for high basketball IQ. Players who think the game well usually adjust much quicker than those relying solely on athleticism. He understands spacing, he makes smart reads, he rarely forces bad decisions. Those habits should shorten the learning curve. Will there be mistakes? Absolutely. Every freshman experiences them. The key is learning from those moments instead of losing confidence. If there's one thing that consistently separates great players, it's resilience. How does Miikka fit into Arkansas's future? Now, imagine this, 6 months from now. It's the middle of SEC play. Arkansas is battling one of the conference's top teams. The offense begins to click. Guards attack the paint, defenders collapse, the ball swings to the perimeter. And standing there is a nearly 7-foot shooter with a smooth release. That's the vision. Muurinen doesn't have to score 30 points. He doesn't need to dominate every possession. Sometimes his biggest impact will come from stretching defenses just enough to create opportunities for everyone else. That's winning basketball. Championship teams need stars, but they also need players who elevate the people around them. Muurinen has the skill set to become exactly that. Long-term NBA upside. It's impossible to discuss Muurinen without mentioning the NBA. Professional basketball continues moving towards versatile forwards who can shoot, defend multiple positions, and play in space. That's precisely why scouts are intrigued. The tools are already there. Elite size, smooth shooting, excellent mobility, strong basketball instincts. Those qualities can't be taught. Everything else can be. Strength can improve. Ball handling can improve, shot creation can improve. Experience comes naturally. That's why his ceiling remains incredibly high. If his development continues over the next couple of years, Arkansas may not have him for very long, and that's usually a good problem to have. At the end of the day, Miikka Muurinen represents exactly where basketball is heading. Positionless, versatile, skilled, athletic. He gives John Calipari another modern weapon capable of stretching defenses, running the floor, and making winning plays without always needing the spotlight. Will there be growing pains? Absolutely. Will SEC defenders test him physically? Without question. Will there be nights where his shot isn't falling? Of course, that's freshman basketball. But don't let those moments distract you from the bigger picture. Players with Muurinen's combination of size, shooting touch, athleticism, and feel for the game are incredibly difficult to find. His strengths already translate to the modern game. His weaknesses are coachable. And perhaps most importantly, he seems to have the work ethic and basketball IQ needed to keep improving. If everything comes together, Razorbacks fans may one day look back on this commitment as one of the defining recruiting victories of the John Calipari era. Because while Miikka Muurinen may arrive in Fayetteville as one of Arkansas's most intriguing newcomers, he could leave as one of the program's next great success stories. But what do you think? Can Miikka Muurinen become the next international star to thrive in college basketball? Do you see him making an immediate impact for Arkansas? Or do you think he'll need a year to adjust to the physicality of the SEC? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more in-depth coverage of Arkansas Razorbacks basketball, recruiting news, player analysis, and everything happening under John Calipari, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.